Baseball. Scott Berry, the head coach of the Golden Eagles, joins us right now on the Farm Bureau phone line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. 7-2, 4-1, 9-2, and 14-4. Those were the final scores, all in favor of Southern Miss over the weekend. Scott, congratulations. Great weekend for your ball club to get to 21-9 overall, 8-3 in conference play. That had to be a lot of fun.
It was, Richard. I'll tell you, going in, I listened to some of the people talk out there and how we should sweep UAB and, all the givens that you hear from the coaching side. And, of course, in my mind, I'm sitting there going, it's hard to win 3 games on a 3-game series, but a 4-game series to sweep is really hard. So, obviously our guys did it game by game and really stayed focused and committed, and I couldn't be more proud of the way that they did that each game and not trying to look ahead and not being satisfied after 3 wins and were able to finish the job yesterday.
So you pushed up the start time on Friday to avoid the weather, and that certainly turned out to be a good decision. Walk me through that first game, a 7-2 win.
Well, Hunter Stanley, who's been our Friday night guy and has been very consistent, one of 3 of our starters that have been real consistent. But he's a guy that basically leads the charge for us on Fridays. And once again, he went deep in the game, another quality start for Hunter, 8 innings, gave up 7 hits, but 2 runs that came in 1 inning. And but he was able to punch out 8 and only walk 1, so he didn't hurt himself, made him earn everything. And our offense was clicking pretty good, in all honesty, and really put together some good at bats. Had a couple of crooked number innings there in the 3rd and the 4th where we put 3 and 2 up respectively. So. And played outstanding defense in that game and all the games. So well-played game there in Game 1.
When you're talking about a weekend where you got to play 4 games, depth of pitching is going to be important. And if you can get 8 innings out of Hunter Stanley in Game 1 and then turn around in Game 1 of a doubleheader on Saturday and get a complete game from Walker Powell, it really kind of sets you up in a pretty good way, doesn't it?
Well, it does, and certainly with that 1-2 punch that we've had this year, it has basically been that way for us going into a 3rd game, especially in the non-conference series where we only played 3 games. But you're right, when you add an extra game in there, it's all important that bullpen is really fresh and ready to go for games 3 and 4. And Walker, once again, came out 7 innings, gave up 3 hits, gave up a solo homer. Didn't hurt himself, didn't walk a batter, and, struck out 4. And, might say about him and his career, he'll go down as one of the best that we've ever had here statistically, Richard. I mean, he's right at 300 innings now for his career with only 44 walks. Wow. So that's pretty impressive. Yeah, no question. 300 career innings. You don't see that very often in college baseball. And I know we're kind of living in a unique time, but regardless, that's good stuff. Pulled the sticks out in Game 3. Grand slam from Danny Lynch. Reese Ewing gets a 3-run bomb, and that gives you a little bit of wiggle room in a game like that. Yeah, we came out there, and at the first inning we had a solo homer, and then of course in the 3rd inning, Chris Sargent, our first baseman, he hits a 3-run shot that really kind of opened things up for us. But once again, starting pitching from freshman Ben Etheridge, covering 6 innings of a 7-inning game, only giving up 5 hits and 1 run, which was a solo homer. He walked 1, so we had 3 walks on the weekend in 4 games, and that was one of them. And there was So, he pitched really well, but he didn't have any strikeouts. And it was kind of funny because it went down literally to the last batter that we struck out in that game for UAB. Probably one of the best 2-strike hitting clubs that I've ever been associated to face against. They were just tough to punch out all weekend. And I've said Ben, he didn't get a 1 in that game, and Avi Gillentine, who came in there and pitched the 7th inning, he was able to strike out the last hitter of the game.
Did you say 3 walks in 4 games this weekend?
3 walks in 4 games, yes, sir.
I watched a baseball game yesterday that had a combined 23 walks in it.
I saw that, and I saw something that kind of led myself to I saw a tweet where, did Coach Bianco, did he get his papers yesterday?
He did. He got his walking papers in the top of the 5th inning.
Well, that's what made me kind of dive into their box score, and when I saw the 17 walks, I knew that that's probably what was the cause of him being exited, I would think. So
the strike zone was interesting. It was less of a zone and more of an area.
I understand. I've been a part of those before.
You've seen that a time or two. Hey, walk me through your game yesterday. Big offensive day, 14-4 to finish off the sweep, and then we'll turn the page to this big week that's coming up for you.
Yeah, yesterday, my fear was that we were going to be satisfied. Everybody always sells the series win, and now in our conference, it takes 3 games to win the series, and a sweep requires 4. So, I had never been a part of a 4-game weekend sweep, and, I really wanted it bad, and I wanted them to want it really bad. And they didn't disappoint. They came out. Drew Boyd covered 6 innings for us, really pitched well, gave up 3 runs, but we had an error there that led to 2 unearned. But we swung the bats well all day. We ran the bases well. We pressured their defense. We did a lot of things well, not only yesterday, but the whole weekend. And when you talk about the phases of the game, the pitching, the defense, and the offense, we didn't really miss on any of those. So real proud of the way we went out and competed, and honestly, we deserved to win all 4.
Well, you got all 4, a 4-0 week that's outstanding, but you don't get to enjoy it very long because you turn to the page to a game against South Alabama at your place tomorrow night, and then 4 games in Ruston against a red-hot Louisiana Tech team that you saw just 3 weeks ago, and had a couple of close games with them, lost 3 of the 4. I know you're not a big polls guy and a big RPI guy, but this is a massive week. You're in the top 20 in RPI right now. You're just outside the top 25. Everybody's kind of thinking about postseason because of some of what we talked about last week, even though we're only at about the halfway point of league play. How big is this week for your ball club?
Well, it is, but nothing's more big than the game tomorrow night. That's what we really have to focus on. But if you look at the big picture, it is a big week for us. And we just got to continue to stay consistent with what we're doing well right now to win baseball games. South Alabama's already beat us twice this year. On the schedule, we went to their place in Mobile twice, and then they come to us tomorrow night. We'll flip that. Next year, they'll come to us twice, and we'll go there once. But they beat us twice down there. And, honestly, I told the team I'm tired of people asking me, why can't we beat them down there? And and I hope they're tired of it too. So, but we know that it's a quality opponent, well-coached, always is, rich tradition at South Alabama, and a team that's going to come up and compete. And, they've got postseason aspirations as well as everybody else. So, certainly, they're not going to take the game off, nor are we. But then after that one, like you alluded to, we do go to Ruston for a big conference series where they took 3 from 4 from us here. 3 weeks ago, we could have easily taken 3 or 4 from them, but we didn't compete and do the things that we needed to in situations to win those 2 games. So we know what we're getting when we go to La Tech, and I feel like they know what they're getting when we come over there as well.
We threw a little bit of a curveball at you last week, Coach, with the Ncaa regional selection news. Have you had time to process that a little bit more, and where are you guys in the process of getting the paperwork in to possibly be a host?
Well, I think that we are. I have not talked to any of the administration about it, but I feel very confident that they're doing everything, putting a bid process together, just like we had, the last several years. To get ourselves as one of those in contention for regional. But, honestly, and I know we've got to do the work here. They can put it in all you want, but we're the ones that got to go out and compete and perform and take care of our end to ensure that we're in a regional. So that's what we're trying to do. Each game is try to build that resume for, number one, an at-large bid, because the automatic doesn't come until the tournament winner. So right now everybody's trying to bid or build their case for an at-large bid, and by going out, trying to win every game that they can.
Hey, last thing, about 30 seconds left. You have a pretty good vibe at the ballpark this weekend with fans there?
We did. We really did. Very impressed with our attendance. We've talked about it a number of times, the attendance in Mississippi at all baseball games. It's phenomenal compared to the rest of the country. So Mississippi loves their baseball, and South Mississippi loves the Eagles. And they were all out this weekend.
Congratulations on the sweep. Good luck this week, Coach. Kind of a wild weekend at the ballpark, Coach. You get rained out on Friday night. Long day with the 2 9-inning games on Saturday. You split those, and then just a crazy marathon game yesterday.
Yeah, it was. And, but my voice, I've lost my voice. I guess I did a little too much yelling yesterday. So, but anyway, I got to listen to you on the TV. So that was good.
What was the roller coaster of emotions from you as you had to, I guess, be in your office or the locker room for the last 4 innings of a game that lasted almost 4.5 hours?
Yeah, what you probably could imagine, not having any control over it, but the truth is, the team was in good hands, with Lass and Clem. But I'm proud of the way we fought back and, the way we continue to compete, when it didn't look too good. But, we just got to play better.
An ejection doesn't happen very often. There are only a handful of times in your career that's happened, but clearly you were going to bat for your pitchers, and I'm sure there was actually frustration in both dugouts with kind of the way balls and strikes were being called. I want to ask you to talk about that, but is there an upside to that happening that kind of gives a spark to your players and to the fans and maybe shifts the emotion a little bit? Do you see that as a piece of it?
Well, not as a motivation. But I think that did happen. It doesn't happen very often. The last time I got ejected was 2014. So, it's not something that happens a lot. But I think it did. I think the kids saw, my emotion and the coach's emotion, and I think that that helped a little bit. But at the end of the day, you hope that you're a little bit better team when you're in the dugout than not.
On the mound, what was your takeaway from this weekend?
We were good, but and we have been good for quite some time. So you hope that it's just a bump in the road, maybe kind of just a snapshot, but not the big picture. We just I just think that it wasn't our weekend. I think we pitched a little tentative. I think we weren't as aggressive in the strike zone as we normally are, and that hurt. We didn't give up any more home runs. We didn't give up really any more hits than we normally give up in a weekend. But the thing that we did was just give too many base runners.
Offensively, you go over 40 hits for the weekend. You talked to me before the season began about really believing in this club offensively, and this was without the guy who has kind of been your rock and your anchor in the lineup in Tim Elko. You had to be pleased, I would think, with what you saw from your guys at the plate.
Oh, yeah, if we can do that every weekend, we're going to win a lot of games. And, it was a big blow a week ago to lose Tim, but as we said that night, Monday night, this lineup's full of hitters, and you can't just replace Tim. We're not going to put player X out there and he's going to hit 350 with 9 home runs the second half of the season. But you can make up with other people contributing in different ways, or maybe guys that weren't playing as well have bigger weekends and have bigger second halves. And I think you saw that. You saw Leatherwood have a really big weekend. Dunhurst, who has been swinging well but was cold for a couple weekends, had a big weekend for us. And Van Cleve had some big hits. And so for us to continue to have success, we're going to need to do that.
I appreciate you fighting through this today. I'll ask you one more question. I will tell you, we've had a couple of people that have texted the show, one earlier and one while you were talking, that said they're in the same boat that you're in right now after yelling a lot over the course of the last 2 days. I lied. Let me ask you two things. I'll just kind of roll it into one question. One, just what it felt like in the ballpark with the crowds that you had for all 3 games. And two, kind of a thought looking ahead. I know you got a midweek game, but to a massive series with your in-state rival in Mississippi State coming up this weekend.
Well, That's why they call it Swayze Field, and such a great atmosphere, and it was electric as, it's ever been. So, really proud of our fans, and, we played hard. We just didn't play good enough. As far as the weekend ahead, we got to get through tomorrow and play well tomorrow. But the question is really about next weekend, and it's about playing better against your arch rival. And it's a big weekend for us. It's a big weekend for them. I think it'll be similar but different, right? I think it'll be an awesome crowd down there, a great atmosphere, and one that we look forward to. But we got to play better than we played this weekend.
I appreciate you playing through the injury this afternoon. Always good to visit with you. We'll cut you short. Let's pick that conversation up right there with Chris Lemonis, the head baseball coach at Mississippi State, on the Farm Bureau phone line. Coach, the 6-5 win on Friday night, 6 innings out of Christian McLeod, only gave up 2 earned runs, scattered 5 hits, struck out 6, a couple of walks. What did you make of his performance on Friday night to start the weekend for you?
I thought he was really good. I mean, we came out, with the command of the ball game. He left 2 balls down the middle of the plate. They hit him out, and their ballpark play is pretty offensive. But, I thought he did pretty good. Once again, he had his really good breaking ball, so I thought he was in control most of the game.
So that Friday night game, you get to a point going into the bottom of the 7th inning where you're up 5-2. It feels like things are in control, and then a couple of walks and an error, and all of a sudden it's a tight ball game. Just kind of the range of emotions of feeling pretty good about where you are, maybe frustrated, and then getting a little bit of a gift and taking advantage of it in the next half inning there at the top of the 8th.
Yeah, it was a big change in momentum there, and frustrating. I mean, we walked their 8 and 9 hitters who I think probably hitting a combined 180 at the time, and that's frustrating to get an inning going, and they took advantage of it. But luckily for us, we come out of it with a tie. And then, like you said, we get a gift. I mean, Tanner Leggett hits a pop-up to the infield, and their guy loses it. And we've had that happen to us a couple times this year, so it was nice to get one back. But I give Tanner a lot of credit, man. He's 2 out of the box from the get-go. He ends up on second base. We get him over, and then he moves over on a wild pitch. So, and then, it's Landon Sims' game from that point, and he was really good again.
Yeah, that's the teaching moment that my son started playing 8-year-old baseball this year, and that's the teaching moment where this is why you run, and you run hard because you never know what's going to happen, I guess. That's
right, and it happens. I mean, we feel like we got some of the best players in the country. I'm sure Auburn does, and it's happened to us a couple of times. It's happened to them, and it's just play the game as hard as you can. We preach it all the time, and it was nice to see it pay off for us.
A little bit more breathing room on Saturday. You jump out to an early lead. I know it's always good when you put a run on the board in the first inning, and then you increase the lead in the third. You increase the lead in the fourth. You get the 7-2 win. What was your takeaway on Saturday?
Well, I thought it came down to Will Bednar. I mean, Will was really good. And probably one of his better pitch games of his career. I think he left the ball up and they hit it out, but for the most part, he was dominant, and they got a good offensive lineup. I know their record doesn't show it right now, but some veteran hitters, a lot of those same hitters we faced in 19, and I thought he just pitched really well, used the slider, developing a really nice changeup and gaining confidence with that. So, a lot of fun.
And then you go over to Sunday, Coach, and you put up a 10 spot in the first inning. As the head coach, how different does the game flow for you, managing it wise, when it starts out like that?
I know this sounds crazy, but it's kind of uncomfortable because everybody relaxes too much. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ole Miss was down 11-0 and came back and tied it. And last year, I think they were up 10 at some point on us in the Sunday game, and I've been down 10-0 before in the first and won 19-10. So, a lot of times you're up because it's an offensive day and there's a lot going to happen. But I thought our guys did a good job. It's a really tough start for Jackson Fristow because you wait. We had to send him back to the bullpen after he'd warmed up, which is rare. And then he had, a couple other long innings. So, not his best by far, but I think he gave us a couple good innings. And I thought Houston Harding on the mound for us was, he kind of slowed the game down and just got us outs, and we were able to move away from them.
And then you were able to get some innings to some guys who haven't seen much action in SEC play. Do you see some of those guys like a Casey Hunt or a Mikey Tepper getting a bigger role in the coming weeks?
I do. I mean, I'm hoping. I mean, that's why we're running them out there. I wasn't super pleased. I thought Mikey's first inning was good, but him and Carmouche and KC, they were just okay. We can't come out of the pen and walk guys. You got to come in and pound the zone. I don't care if it's 15,000 or 200 people or what the score is. You got to command the zone, and we weren't good at that all weekend. So hopefully we'll be better this weekend.
Chris, you alluded to something that I said earlier in the show today, that, having seen Auburn some this year, I don't think they're a bad baseball team, and yet you look up and they're sitting at 1-11 in the SEC. Did you kind of feel that way also?
Yes. We just played these guys. Played them in Omaha. Cody Greenhill, Jake Owens. Through 7, gave up 2 against us in Omaha. Their shortstop. They've had some bad breaks. They've had some injuries. And they've lost a little bit of confidence, and then you're in this league. This league is, everybody's trying to get everything they can, and they've played probably, if you look at them, they've probably played one of the harder schedules in our league. And so, as to this point, I don't mean out of conference, but I just mean the conference teams that they played. The last 2 weeks, Arkansas and us, and they've just, they've had a tough run at it, and it's weighing on them a little bit. You can tell.
All right, so turning the page from the weekend, obviously a very successful weekend to this week. Midweek game against Arkansas State tomorrow night, and then a series that a few people usually have circled on their calendar, Super Bulldog weekend, Ole Miss coming to town, and, man, what a scene I guess this is going to be this weekend.
Is this the week we play Ole Miss? This is the one? So I haven't heard yet. This whole town's already jumping, so yeah, it'll be a big week. It's one of the reasons you come to Mississippi State or Ole Miss, and it's what makes our state so special with college baseball. And some matchups like this and the crowds and everything else. It should be a beautiful weekend weather-wise and be a lot of fun. We got Tommy Rappo and his group coming tomorrow night, so we got work to do before we get there. But it's conference play right now. It dictates everything, and should be a great series. They got a great ball club. We had a chance to see them out in Arlington, and It'll be a dogfight.
Is this one of those weeks where you don't even say anything to your team, like from a motivation standpoint? It's just focus on doing things well and playing clean, or do you talk about the fact that rivalry and blah, blah, blah?
We talk the rivalry. No, definitely. I think that's something they have to understand, and I think, our clubhouse, our roster has a lot of Mississippi kids, and it means something to them. It's a big weekend, and it means more than Auburn. It just does. When you live in this state, and, my neighbor's already said it to me. He's ready for us to beat the Rebels, and, it's everybody talks about it. And so it's for us to walk around and act like, it doesn't matter, it's just another game, it's really not true. So we not that we have to play harder or practice harder or do anything like that, but, we're not going to walk away from the mindset that this isn't a big game. When you play, these two teams play, this is, like you said, it's marked on everybody's calendar at the beginning of the year. Everybody's coming to town.
Coach, I got to ask the most important question now. Two series in a row, series finale, no black uniforms. Are they gone?
No, they're not gone. We still got them. Well, last weekend against Kentucky, now we don't wear – blacks are worn on Sundays. That was made very
right.
Jake Mangum made sure I knew that when I first got here, Coach. We don't wear them on the Saturday last game because it's not Sunday. So we didn't wear them that weekend. We had a brand new pair of gray pinstripes, and but you know what? Our kids kind of came to us and said, "Hey, Coach, man, can we wear? We don't want to wear the blacks this weekend. We want to wear, that was another great team, and that was a tradition they had, but we're a different team. We don't want to fall into that. So we switched it up a little bit, and they played really good in them. So they'll get a chance to wear them again for sure." But the blacks are still here. The blacks are still here. We didn't throw them out or put them in a trash can or anything. But
Richard's sad to hear that. He's not a fan. So
yeah, that's too bad. I will ask you this: out of all the 37 uniform combinations that you have, which one's your favorite?
I don't know. I like that gray one we had this weekend. The gray pinstripes that we wore. If you look at ours have become very traditional. The two pinstripes, the regular gray, and then we just wear our 85s for the most part. I try to take away. I try not to have the 37 combinations. I try to keep it pretty simple. And I love the old, being an old fan, I love the old 85s. So I like those also.
Well, not that my opinion matters at all, but 2 thumbs up on the traditional baseball uniforms, and the blacks not so much. So the gray pinstripes pretty sweet yesterday. Richard just knows stuff.
Richard just knows the
look.
record in the black uniforms. That's why he doesn't want to see them this weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure the blacks. I like the blacks because they're slimming, so they always felt like I looked a little smaller. So,
Chris, thanks for your
that
time.
Was just me.
There you go. Enjoy the week. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, fellas.